Welcome back, True Seeker. It is Thursday, July 28th, 2022. One of the big stories this morning, a young rapper killed in Louisiana. The details of his death are vague. They're saying he was shot alongside his father. His father survived, he died. And what I want to talk about is why this happened yesterday, Wednesday, July 27th, 2022. And if you're new here, we're going to talk about Gematria. Again, Gematria, there's a song out there by the band Slipknot called Gematria, the killing name. There's another song by the band The Police called Murder by Numbers, where killing's as simple as ABC is 1, 2, 3. And again, you learn this knowledge of Gematria, which comes from Kabbalah. Kabbalah's ancient Jewish mysticism. Kabbalah has a book of formation. It says God created the world with numbers, letters, and words. And for going on 9 years, I've been teaching about the ritual killing of young black men in connection to a very specific number, and that number is 59. And the day of this young man's death was a day that had everything to do with 59. And in Gematria, numbers are encoded in words that have relationships. And for example, the words slave, Negro, blues, Rasta, they all have Gematria 59. And when I first started looking at this research, I noticed that pattern. I said, well, that's interesting because Motown Records came out in 1959. Black History Month began, or Black History Month, I should say, concludes on the 59th day of the year, February 28th. The first black president of the United States, his Secret Service name, Renegade, equals 59. More recently, he put out the book A Promised Land. All of the words we just said that equal 59, slave, Negro, blues, Rasta, renegade, they all equal 59 when you just take the alphabetic order. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, E is 5, up to Z, the 26 letters, 26. Another cipher is running the alphabetic order in reverse. And what's interesting about the day this young man died on, he died on a date with 76 numerology, with a date with a strong 59 connection. And we'll talk about how these things are so, and we'll prove that they were absolutely so because it was more than just this news story yesterday. Again, this community that knows this knowledge had a really good day yesterday in baseball, understanding the significance of 59. Every single game where 59 could play yesterday in Major League Baseball, it did play, including against the predominantly black city with the 59 name, Atlanta, Georgia. We'll talk more about that because, again, this is what I've been teaching for 9 years. You learn this knowledge, you see through the ritual murders, you see through the rig news, you see through the rig sports game, and you can trace who's responsible for the rituals. Again, all roads lead to Rome, and it's the Jesuits of the Roman Catholic Church. So, again, if you're new here, I want to bring up a Gematria calculator, and I want you to see how this all comes together, and we're going to talk about it in a big way, but I'm going to write out the word slave. Now, you notice it equals 59 forwards. It equals 76 in reverse. Yesterday, the date was 27/7, the 27th day of the 7th month. The number 277 is the 59th prime number. Yesterday's date numerology was 7 plus 27 plus 20 plus 22, which is 76. Where slave is 59 forward, 76 in reverse, so is the word Negro. So is the word blues. So is the word Rasta. Now notice, when I write out renegade, it has the 59, but it does not have the 76 in reverse. Instead of it's 157, which is a whole nother story. But notice, the base ciphers are the alphabetic order forwards and backwards with the rules numerology. I want to write out a promised land, which is the book put out by Obama. Notice how it's 59 forwards with numerology, 76 in reverse. And I want you to notice that the name Barack Obama is 76 in that same cipher. Again, this is the nation's first black president. The 44th book of the Bible, Obama was number 44. The 44th book of the Bible is Acts, A-C-T-S. Acts 7:6 is about the 400 years of slavery in a foreign land. And the book, A Promised Land, that's a title, a tribute to Abraham. Abraham also has the Gematria 44. Notice how hope, what Obama ran on, equals 44 forward, 64 in reverse. The Civil Rights Act in 64, Obama elected the 44th president 44 years later. So I really want to talk about the significance of 59 in this date, but now that you've seen the four ciphers, I just want you to notice something about this young man's death so that you see how these ciphers work. His most recent release was an EP earlier this year on March 25th, 2022, called All Is Well. From that release to his death, July 27th, it was 124 days later. He's also made a few songs with the very popular artist Lil Durk, who's been connected to a lot of these hip hop deaths. It's 281 days after Lil Durk's birthday, his date of death, 124 days after his EP, and his EP did come out on March 25th, the day leaving 281 days left in the year. Well, look at this rapper's birth name. JayDaYoungan was born Javorius Tyke Scott, which equals 281. Again, his EP comes out on the day leaving 281 days left in the year. His name in reverse with numerology is 124. He's dead 124 days later. And then if you're new here, that 74 in his name is a big deal because we've talked about from the beginning how fateful it is to have that in your rap name. How many rappers die in connection to 74? With just the most simple cipher, look at this. Just the most simple cipher where we started with the 59s. If you write out rapper at 74, if you write out killing at 74, if you write out Machiavelli, remember that was Tupac's rap alias, Machiavelli 74. That album is Tupac on the cross like Jesus. Jesus is 74. Cross is 74. Messiah is 74. Gospel is 74. Parables is 74. Jesus spoke in parables in the gospel, the story of Jesus' life. All these words 74. By the way, this practice is called Gematria, which equals 74. English 74. Again, killing is 74. There's the song Gematria, the killing name. 3 of the first 5 presidents in this nation's history died on 7/4. July 4th, which is holiday 74. Independence Day is 74. Anyhow, these simple ciphers, the alphabetic order, forwards and backwards numerology. Again, whenever you see these young rappers dead that are in national headlines, we always go back and look at the same thing: the recent album releases and the way the death syncs up, the collaborations with the major artists that they linked up with in their career, and how they link up. And okay, so there's more to go over in this, but I just want to come back to the 59 piece because this date was 27/7, 277, the 59th prime number. In Jewish gematria, the word kill is 59. Again and again, the same type of rituals. But from news to sports, you learn the code and you see how the rituals sync up. And I just want you to see what happened in baseball yesterday. Every single game where 59 could play, played. And what else is amazing is there's only so many teams in Major League Baseball that have a connection to 59. Every team that had a connection to 59 participated in the 59 rituals that played out yesterday. So the Braves, they were playing the Phillies and they came in on 59 wins, right? 59 on 27/7, 277, the 59th prime. Atlanta, Georgia, in what's considered the most pure cipher, the alphabetic order with the rules numerology is 59. The Braves stay on 59 wins, right? Predominantly black city as well. Okay, the Padres and the Tigers. The Tigers stay on 59 losses, plus their next opponent, since this series ended with this, is going to be against a 59 team who also participated in a 59 ritual yesterday, which is the Toronto Blue Jays, which was synced up with Pope Francis meeting with Justin Trudeau, the Jesuit Prime Minister of Canada, and the Toronto Blue Jays, who are a 59 team who played on this day. They had a rare interleague matchup play against the St. Louis Cardinals while the Pope's meeting with the Prime Minister when Cardinals are assistants of the Pope. But again, the phrase or the word tiger has gematria 59. And think about the nursery rhyme, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. We say catch a tiger by his toe. If you don't know this, the old school version of that is not catch a tiger. It's catch an N-word by its toe. It's racist. So there's this black connotation with it. So anyhow, the Tigers stayed on 59 losses. The Los Angeles Angels and the Kansas City Royals played. The Royals lost, picking up their 59th loss. Notice, Kansas City Royals, 59 in the most pure cipher. Look at Los Angeles Angels. Los Angeles Angels, 59. These teams just happen to be playing each other on that day, and the Royals just happen to be picking up their 59th loss in that game, right? Perfect ritual. As we'll get to, the angel stayed on 56 losses. The day also had 56 date numerology. That's the Society of Jesus number. That's the Pope number. And remember, the Tupac album, A Hymn on the Cross, came out on the Jesuit day, Guy Fawkes Day, November 5th, 96, the day leaving 56 days left in the year. Another number we see in the killing of young black men in these Jesuit Society of Jesus rituals. Again, the angel stayed on 56 losses on the 56 date numerology. Again, not all these games had a 59 on the board, but some did. The ones that did played yesterday. And the Marlins, they lost, and the Reds stayed on 59 losses. Look at Miami Marlins. Miami Marlins, 59. Okay? Every team that had a 59 connection participated in a 59 ritual on 27/7 in sports, which is good when you're a gambler using this knowledge, which is why this community has been producing winners. And I mean, look at this, you guys. When I started this, nobody else was teaching this in the world. Look at how many people today. There's over 100 people that have their own Patreon now, charging for sports picks, decoding games with the knowledge that I started putting out 9 years ago. And back then, we were calling things right. And people back then, I had nothing but haters in the comments because the work wasn't spread well enough. But again, for all the people back then who said, well, how come you're the only person doing this? Then it's like, well, I might be the only person who figured it out. But now look, here we are 9 years later, the thing's an industry. And it's undeniable because we've talked about the same thing a million times over and over, from young rapper deaths to rigged sports games. And I just put out a video for you guys for free on how significant 59 would be. If you read the notes on the Cardinals Blue Jays series I put out for free, I said why they would split the series and why the Cardinals would exit the series on 23 away wins. Wasn't hard to see. Again, Trudeau's the 23rd prime minister. The Cardinals, who assist the Pope, pick up their 23rd road win versus the Blue Jays in Canada, while the Jesuit prime minister, Trudeau, is meeting with the Pope. You know what I mean? And again, Pope Francis, remember his name's 59 in the most pure cipher. Benedict stepped down on the 59th day of the year for him. The 59th presidential election was exactly 46 weeks after his birthday. Joe Biden became number 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday. And we said all this a year in advance, right? Said all a year in advance. Catholic 46. John F. Kennedy killed at age 46, the nation's first Catholic president. Joe Biden, the second Catholic president. His son, Beau Biden, dead at 46 by the numbers. Then he wins the 59th election in tribute to John F. Kennedy. Usually how the president's name said, right? JFK. They'll say John F. Kennedy. 59 in the most pure. Big boss number, 59. And with regards to this being completely Jesuit, completely numerological, completely astrological, let's come back to him dying at age 24 in the time of Leo, the sun, when the Jesuits served the Roman Catholic Church a sun cult whose symbol is the sun. For you baseball fans, remember 32 sun rays on the Jesuit logo. The Dodgers just broke their 32-year drought against the Rays. Get it? But yeah, we had that one in spring training like we so often do with Major League Baseball. It's all rigged and scripted. But in the most pure cipher, if you write out the sun, it's 24, right? This young man's dead at 24. He just turned 24, too. His birthday was July 15th. Just turned 24, 12 days earlier. You think about the measurement of the sun, right? He's dead 12 days after his 24th birthday, 12 hours in the morning, 12 hours in the evening, 12 months in the year, 12 constellations in the zodiac, right? He's dead 12 days after the 24th birthday in the time of Leo, which is the sun. And there's a lot of things to say about the Jesuit logo. Again, I've talked about many a times before. My ebooks are free to download. You can learn all about those symbols. The 3 nails for triclavianism, the IHS for Jesus Hominum Salvator, the Templar cross, the 32 sun rays, why the Jesuits share the Admirum Dei Gloriam motto with the 32nd degree of the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. But here's the thing that stands out in a big way. He was shot with his father. Again, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, right? The Catholic Church, the Trinity. And his father's name, Kenyatta Scott, equals 177, like the Jesuit order. These father-son rituals over and over. The small way, the father's name, Kenyatta Scott, equals 78, like Jesuit. Again, this happens on a date with 56 numerology, Society of Jesus 56. The most obvious Jesuit ritual of all time in hip-hop is the release of the Machiavelli album with Tupac on the cross, like Jesus, on Remember the 5th of November, the day leaving 56 days left in the year. You know how people wear that anonymous mask, the Guy Fawkes mask? That's where the blind are leading the blind. People don't even see the mockery of that being the counter resistance against the authority. The Jesuits are the authority, and they're the ones behind quotes like "lead all sides of all things." Anonymous, it's just like Facebook, completely Jesuit, like all of big tech. On one hacker way, the address, right? The hackers are anonymous. Remember when I got all of my online accounts hacked on the Ides of March 15th, 2017? Every online account I had got hacked on the same day. The first one was on Facebook, headquartered at One Hacker Way. The Ides of March, all roads lead to Rome, the Jesuit order. Anyhow, rapper JayDaYoungan dead at 24. Now, his music career was associated with the number 23, right? It's interesting. So he barely escapes the age of 23, and he's dead 12 days after turning 24. And we just talked about why in the time of Leo. Um, he was exposed with his mixtapes Rough Way and The Real Jumpman 23. He has a lot of songs with 23 in it. And another thing that stands out in a big way is we talked about his death in light of his most recent release, his EP, All Is Fine. But his big album was 23 Is Back, which came out June 11th, 2021. So hardly a year ago, right? A little more than a year later, he's dead. And he's dead 411 days later. And whenever I see that number, I always think assassin. Remember, JFK killed from 411 Elm Street. John F. Kennedy, right? John F. Kennedy, 59. This a big 59 ritual. But dead 411 days after that album came out. In Jewish Gematria, assassin is 411. Outside of the base ciphers, the cipher to know is Jewish Gematria. And here, let me just close all the base ciphers. Let me plug in Jewish. If you write out the word kill, it's 59, like we talked about. Again, assassin is 411. And so he's killed on this date, 411 days after the album. He's in Louisiana, right? Who killed JFK? Lee Harvey Oswald, who's from where? New Orleans, Louisiana. And just notice how in the base ciphers, assassin in Louisiana also overlap the 101, the 61, right? The 101, the 61. And for the record, Lee Harvey Oswald, he died on his 38th day of his age. Keep in mind, Louisiana equals 38. So does death, so does murder, so does killing, so does RIP. They're all 38. The word rapper's 38. You know the July 4th shooting in Highland Park, Illinois, blamed on the white rapper Awake? He has to appear in court on August 3rd, 8338. Remember, the song Murder by Numbers came out in 83. About killing's the sport of the elite, the elected. Murder with that Gematria, 83 and 38. In Uvalde, 19 police stood down while 19 children were killed on Route 83. But anyhow, Lee Harvey Oswald was killed on his 38th day of his age. Number all throughout history connected to death and killing, especially in the hip-hop world. And Louisiana, out of the 50 states, there's 5 that have a Gematria 38. Let's see if I can do them off the top of my head. Florida, Louisiana, Minnesota, Oregon, and Colorado, which is also the 38th state. So that means there's 10% odds of there being, 38 Gematria in your state. And you might recall when Alton Sterling and Philando Castile were both killed on Facebook Live, police captured killings. Both of those were in the same news cycle. So you got to say, what are the odds of that? 2 of the 38 states killing young black men caught on video camera in stories that like we've never seen before. What's 10% times 10%? That's 1 in 100. So you had a 1 in 100 chance of that working out organically. And that's how you know this stuff's not organic, because it's being done ritualistically. After the George Floyd killing in Minnesota, one of the 38 states, the longest Black Lives Matter protest in the nation began in Oregon, an unlikely place for it, but another 38 state. And remember what we predicted off that? We predicted that Portland, Oregon would be front and center on September 11th, 2020, on the 106th day of the protest, and it was for all the wrong reasons. The woods all around the city were on fire. People couldn't breathe. The Black Lives Matter, I can't breathe. The phrase I can't breathe equals 106, like Black Lives Matter equals 106, like the word black equals 106. That was the 106th day of the protest there in Oregon. And Again, all the trees were on fire around the city. The air was all black. It had the worst quality in the world because of the fires burning up around the city on the 106th day of the Black Lives Matter protest. And we mapped that out well before that happened. We said, just watch. September 11th, 9/11, that date's already associated with tragedy. Portland's got a World Trade Center like New York did. It's just a lot smaller. George Floyd equals 119, like Civil War, what they're pushing for. Anyhow, you learn this knowledge, you see what's coming before it happens again and again. And again, I mean, it's just undeniable, really. I mean, to think this stuff's a coincidence every time, you have to have very low understanding of probability. These things are improbable, improbable. And another thing I noticed is his big song with Lil Durk, since his death's so connected to this, the Dumb remix, that came out a span of 146 weeks from his death. We talk about this again, you guys. It's the Society of Jesus doing this, right? If you write out Jesus Christ, it has gematria of 146 and 74. Remember, his birth name is also 74. Just so many rapper deaths have had these same numbers in it. Like XXX Tentacion, his death had everything to do with the Society of Jesus and Jesus rituals. It's the same thing over and over. It's the same thing over and over. There's been a lot of these over the years, but it's the point I'm making is it's not an accident that Jesus Christ number is in there from the day that song comes out, Lil Durk, until his death. We keep seeing the same pattern over and over connected to these Chicago rappers, Lil Durk in recent times. You know what's funny? I can't even remember the name of the rapper whose death we predicted. King Von, that's what it was. In March when his album came out with the LeBron tribute, King Von, we said, we looked at all the numbers on that. We said, this guy's not going to live much longer. And he was dead synced up with that album. What was it? November 6th, 2020. But again, every single time it's the Jesuit Society of Jesus numbers. And you think about it, right? It's so clear in this one. He's with his Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, you know? Okay, so that's that piece. And then just to show you, like, another thing with a rapper, you had the Highland Park shooter, Bobby Cremo, said to be a rapper. He's getting a 170 count indictment yesterday. Illinois equals 117, like Central Intelligence Agency. Why are they doing this on the same day as his death? Again, 27/7, 277. Look at what happens when you write out Independence Day. Independence Day has the gematria of 74, of course, like July 4th, but it also has the 277, the 59th prime. And remember, this nation was established 59 years after modern Freemasonry. Freemasonry also has the 59 in it. 277, the 59th prime. 59 is the 17th prime number. Mason equals 17. Modern Freemasonry created in the year 1717. 59 years later in 1776, this nation. And you know, I should say one more thing before I get into the July 4th thing about his death. The date he died did have 56 date numerology. It also had 76 date numerology. This nation established in 1776. The Illuminati also established May 1st, 1776 by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. And I want you to see something about this. Javorius Scott, his birth name, JayDaYoungan, and Bogalusa, where he died. Look at all these words. Javorius Scott, 48, right? JayDaYoungan, 48 in the same cipher. And watch it when I write Bogalusa. Bogalusa, 48, 138, like JayDaYoungan, right? Illuminati has the gematria 48. Okay? The word evil has the gematria 48. They're into Kabbalah. The evil half of Kabbalah is the tree of life known as the Qliphoth. And notice the word tree itself is also 48. Again, you look into Kabbalah, you look into the Qliphoth, the evil side, the spell casting side, the sorcery side, the side about doing bad harm, if you will, to others. It fits in with all this. And Lil Durk also has that gematria 48, since this is so synced up with him. But anyhow, coming back to the Highland Park shooting being in the news on this day, I want to remind people that the Highland Park shooter had the word awake tattooed on his face. And he was a white Jewish rapper who had some success online, not as much as Post Malone, who's also a white Jewish rapper. Notice this year on July 4th, the day of that shooting, was Post Malone's 27th birthday. Remember, the word ritual's 27. That's why there's the 27 Club. This rapper who we're talking about, who died yesterday, JayDaYoungan, dead on the 27th day of July. But on Post Malone's 27th birthday, you had the shooter with awake tattooed on his face. Post Malone has tattooed on his face, always tired. Kind of the opposite of awake, right? I'm awake. I guess you could argue that asleep is fully the opposite, but tired's almost there, right? That there's a relation. Awake, always tired. Now notice, always tired in the most pure cipher equals 47, right? Like the fourth day of the seventh month, his birthday. In Hebrew Gematria, 47 represents God, the Tetragrammaton. The rapper, awake. Not only did he have awake tattooed on his face, he had the number 47 tattooed on his head. He also had 47 written on his car. And if you haven't read my first book, again, my ebooks are free to download. But Capital Steez, his death's in there. The rapper who was fascinated with 47. And look at his rap name in Gematria, Capital Steez. 47 in the most pure cipher, right? At the 187, like Society of Jesus, homicide code. But anyhow, on the 4th of July, you have this riddle, right? And again, with the rapper obsessed with 47, but also the 27th birthday of Post Malone. Realize just the way they play games, rituals, right? News stories synced up with celebrities, and reminders of who's in the club and who isn't. So anyhow, I did a lot of work on the death or the reported killing at Highland Park by Robert E. Cremo or Bobby Cremo or the rapper Awake. And again, remember, in the land of Lincoln, the Civil War president, a 4th of July shooting. And the shooter's name is Robert E. Cremo, kind of like Robert E. Lee, the Confederate war general. Again, just rituals. And with the point about ritual, I want to bring it in further. Remember, the winner of the 59th presidential election is Joe Biden, who has these parallels to JFK, who was assassinated in Dallas, Texas. Again, John F. Kennedy, 59. Biden wins the 59th presidential election. But then he also has the parallels to Bobby Kennedy, who was assassinated. And by the way, it's 59 years since the JFK assassination. That was in 63. Now it's 2022, 59 years later. But I want you to look at this. Again, Joe Biden has the same birthday as Bobby Kennedy, who died in history on June 6th. And again, multiple ciphers. If I write out Robert Kennedy, it equals 156. He was shot on the 156th day of the year, June 5th, which can be written 5/6, like Society of Jesus 56. But then he died June 6th, 6/6. Robert Kennedy shot on the 156th day, dead on the next day, 6/6. His assassin, Sirhan, also with the 66. Okay. So remember the recent headline from last month. June 6th, President Biden goes on Jimmy Kimmel, which is broadcast from the Masonic Temple of Hollywood. Hollywood equals 48, like Illuminati, like evil. But anyhow, Biden, they make the big deal on the anniversary of the death, again, of Bobby Kennedy, the anniversary of his death. They're making the big deal about President Biden doing his first interview on 118 days on June 6th. Now, remember, 118 is a huge death number. When Tupac died, he died on 118-date numerology. A lot of people have died in connection to 118. And one of them was JFK. If you write out Dallas, Texas, it equals 118. So Joe Biden has the parallels to JFK, who died 59 years ago, and Bobby Kennedy, who died 54 years ago. We'll make a point about both that. But again, Dallas, Texas is 118. Jewish Gematria. In that cipher, death is 118. Homicide is 118. Okay? So you got to say, what are the odds, right? And then this was on the 54-year anniversary of Bobby Kennedy's death in the Ambassador Hotel. Look at Ambassador Hotel in the most pure cipher, 54, right? Look at Dealey Plaza, where JFK was killed. When you run it in reverse with numerology, 54, right? The initials JFK, 54. Jesuit order, 54. The word son, 54. The word son, also 27. Let me not forget, in light of what we were talking about, the death of the young rapper JayDaYoungan on July 27th at age 24, in light of these being Jesuit time sun rituals. Okay? This stuff's not an accident. We've been teaching about all these numbers over and over for all these years. And if you just pay attention, you see how they're cluing you into what's happening before it happens. The housing market, by the way, mortgage rates fell for the first time in a little bit because they've been climbing yesterday. And why was this the news yesterday? And it's not necessarily good news for the economy. But again, on 27.7, 277, the 59th prime number, right? Mortgage rates become a big focus with the Fed's decision on July 27th. It was a date with 56 numerology as well, like we said, and interest rates equal 56. Big interest rates hike, you know? And again, the other thing going on in Canada, on 27.7, 277, the 59th prime, the Jesuit Trudeau is meeting with Pope Francis. And there's a lot of rumors that Trudeau is the son of Fidel Castro. Now, I don't know that that's true or not, but what's interesting about Castro is he's Jesuit educated as well. He became the leader of Cuba in 1959, and then he died in history 59 days after September 27th, which is the day the Jesuits are recognized by Roman history. And in light of, here, let me come back to JayDaYoungan. In light of his EP album, his EP coming out on March 25th, that's the 84th day of the year. Again, huge Jesuit number. Well, look at all the 84 connection. Understand that Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope. He has 84 birth numerology. The world pretty much fell apart with COVID in his 84th year of life. The U.S. has had diplomatic relations with the Vatican since 1984, where Jesuit is 84. If you write out the Jesuit order, it's also 84. If you write out the Catholic Church, it's also 84. If you write out United States of America, it's 84. Big number, okay? From the day that Pope Francis shook hands with Fidel Castro to the day that Fidel Castro died was 433 days later, which is the 84th prime number. From the day that Fidel Castro died to the day that his son died was 433 more days, the 84th prime number. And when his son died, they said it was suicide, and his son was dead at age 68. Notice how Fidel Castro's 68. And that same cipher, so is Catholicism 68. Club of Rome was established in 68 on April 7th, 3 days after the killing of Martin Luther King Jr. by the numbers. Bobby Kennedy's death that year by the numbers. But again and again, same numbers, similar rituals. And again, from news to sports, if you look at a day of what took place in the world with this knowledge in mind, you can see right through the rigging of the sports games and every last thing, every last thing that they're throwing at you in the news. You know, from mortgage rates to a young dead rapper. And that's why, you know, so often some people will watch my video and they'll leave a comment. They'll be like, "Can you make a book with a dictionary of what 59 means?" You can't write a book about what 59 means. 59 doesn't have a single meaning. You have to recognize, like I've been doing with a lot of hard research, how these numbers are used repetitiously. For example, in the killing of black men, how a number can relate to a date and how that will relate to rigged sports rituals. How it'll be 59 date numerology and they'll make a big adjustment with mortgage rates. Again, I can't write a definition that 59 represents black men and mortgage rates, because that's not that's not all the entire truth of it either. There's another way they could put a 59 ritual together, right? It could be a completely white guy whose name equals 59. They could do a ritual with him. The point of this knowledge is understanding how the numerical rituals are routinely applied and used. And again, it's easy to see in Black history because it's so well coded into the language. But then the examples are there. Black History Month ending on the 59th day of the year. Again, Motown coming out in 59. The things they've done with Obama, the nation's first black president. And all the other things here. When you think of race wars, well, if you're younger, you might not think of Rodney King first. But if you're my age or older, you think of race war, the first thing you think of even before George Floyd is Rodney King. Rodney King, 59, right? In the most pure cipher. And then what day is Rodney King's birthday? April 2nd. Date can be written 4, 2, or 24. Again, 42 and 59 are the numbers they pair together so often. It's obvious that they treat 24, the reflection of 42, a lot like it's 42, like JayDaYoungan dead at 24. But again, this knowledge is elementary. You learn it. You look at the news. You'll never look at it the same way again. There's even more that can be said about this, but again, just the assassination themes right now are huge. And yeah, I mean, yesterday was a monster 59 day, and unfortunately, it also included the death of a young black man. But at the same time, the silver lining is because this continues to happen, and because I've been teaching this the same way for 9 years consistently, people should be getting it more and more. And for the people who were skeptics in the past, I mean, I don't understand how anyone was ever a skeptic since I started presenting this from day one, because it's been uh, to me a closed case, undeniable, unless you don't have any critical thinking skills. But still, I think that is the big problem, that so few people have the necessary critical thinking skills to see that this is undeniable. But hopefully, we're building those in the people who don't have them currently. So, um, there's even other little things that could be pointed out about this. But apparently, he was a young father. They got that detail in the story. Just repetitive themes. And because one of the biggest rappers in Louisiana right now is that 38 young boy, a fateful hip hop name. That's not a that's not a number you want in your rap name, in light of the track record of death in 38 in hip hop and everywhere else. Remember when JFK died, Walter Cronkite, who broke the news, he said some 38 minutes ago. That's how he started it. Again, death, murder, killing, RIP, 38. But this news does break July 28th, which is the 209th day of the year, and the most simple cipher, Cantrell Deshaun Galden equals 209. That's and why did I just forget his rap name? NBA Youngboy, whatever it is. Today's the 209th day of the year. He's the big rapper in the state, and again, a lot of times these sacrifices, they are connected to multiple people. So that is another thing to think about. And I think I got all the main points in here. For one last thing, I'm just going to keep bringing this up in streams. For all the people out there who think because there's 4 ciphers, you can get anything to equal anything. I just want to go back to this example they did the other year. They had a virtual Kentucky Derby because the Kentucky Derby was postponed due to coronavirus. But what they did is they had a virtual derby with the 13 former horses that won Triple Crowns, right? And notice those are the 13 horses up there that have ever won the Triple Crown. There's their 4 Gematria values. So you have 52 total Gematria values. And can you identify on the screen that only one equals 47? Only one horse has a Gematria value of 47. That was Secretariat. And the day they ran this virtual derby was a date, May 2nd, 2020, a date with 47 numerology, right? So the date had 47 numerology. And look at the headline after Secretariat won the virtual derby. Secretariat wins virtual Kentucky Derby 47 years after winning real race. 47, right? One horse with a 47 name. They do it on a 47 date numerology. That's a perfect ritual. And obviously, it's easy to script a virtual Kentucky Derby. But the point is, you pay attention to the news day after day, you see rituals just like this are being fulfilled. And again, you learn the knowledge, you realize you can't just make anything equal anything that you want to. That's not the way it works. This is a good example of how it works. So is everything else we put out day after day. But yeah, I'm always amazed by how many people will think all this stuff's a coincidence, and how many people will leave a comment like, bro, what you talking about, man? You sounds crazy, bro. It's just like, do I? Or is it because like your IQ's so low I sound crazy? I mean, that's a real thing. Intelligent people sound crazy to dumb people. And sadly about this nation, this world, truly, there's a lot of dumb people, you know? So anyhow, um let me check in with the chat real quick. So I got my eyes on the chat. Anybody in the chat see anything about this killing that I missed? Again, I was not familiar with this young rapper. I'd never heard of him, honestly, before this morning. And remember, that's the thing, too. Death sells. There is, you got to make that point every time you talk about this subject. Death is profit for the record companies that own these young men. They probably have life insurance policies on them, first of all. And second of all, when they die, people learn about their name, they learn about their music, they learn about their songs. Even the people who already knew about him, when they die, if before they're like, man, I've been thinking about buying his album, I've been thinking about buying his song, I'm going to buy it today. Today, I'm going to put some money in his family's bank account. This is the way people think, right? So death sells. And so often when a megastar dies, when super celebrities die, like the Whitney Houstons of the world, huge race ritual, they'll put out the headlines about how her record sales are up 1,000% in the last 48 hours. So the record companies are just making a killing after she's been killed in the bathtub. You know what I mean? And the real thing, like if I could interview anybody in the world right now about his death, and if I could if I was like some master of hypnosis and could get the truth out of him, I'd be talking to the father. I'd be talking to the father. What are the odds that him and his father were just together at the same time and both get shot up? I mean, possibly a real story, but so often we're looking at how these rappers and the ritual sacrifice connected to the parent. And this time it seems like it's flipped, right? You had Megan the Stallion, her mom dies, and then she's the most famous rapper there ever was. Another big ritual by the numbers. You got Lil Baby. He's got, I believe his father died, if I'm not. I could be getting confused with Da Baby and Lil Baby, or both of them. But parents and siblings dead, and then they're blowing up. I mean, it's just it's over and over again. So, and if you guys are ever looking for old posts, again, search my website at GematriaEffect.news. Stuff that happened. I pretty much started Gematria Effect News at the start of 2020. My older stuff before then is on freetofindtruth.blogspot.com. But like if I search Megan the Stallion, I'm pretty sure the post will come right up for her mother. If I remember right, her mother's name was Hollywood. But here, let me just go back and look at this. Her mother's death was announced March 22nd, 2019, 35 days after her birthday. And again, there's something to say right there. She was killed on the kill date. And with regards to her dying 35 days after the birthday, big number with rap. Svengali is the evil hidden hand in the entertainment industry, making entertainers do things they'd rather not do. Her mother's rap name, Holly Thomas, equals 149, the 35th prime. Or excuse me, not her mother's rap name, her birth name. So perfect ritual with mother and daughter. And Holly Thomas died 42 days from her 48th birthday. The word Freemason has Gematria 42 and 48. We were just talking about the significance of 48 in the death of JayDaYoungan. And her rap name Hollywood also has the 48 and 42. Dead 42 days from her, or hold on, am I getting it backwards? Yeah, 42 days from her 48th birthday. So her mom was in the industry, right? She didn't get to be as famous as Megan the Stallion, but this was the cost for Megan the Stallion to take over the radio airwaves, which she has ever since this death. And her name is really weird too, because a stallion's a male horse, and just all the transgender stuff right now. And then you got a woman with a male horse name. It's like, what's that about? So, anyhow, lots of these stories, and if you write Lil Baby, I know. Let me see, Lil Baby, Da Baby. All right, that was arrested for reckless driving. There's just so many of these stories over the years, but I can't remember if it was Lil Baby or Da Baby. And that's the thing too. It's just like, come on, man. Doesn't anybody else want a different rap name? Okay, it was Da Baby. Da Baby's father dies the same day his album goes #1, March 29th, 2019. That was the 88th day of the year, you guys. Look at it. Rapper, right? Got the 88 in reverse. On the 88th day of the year, dad's dead, album's #1. So, Da Baby, rap, Baby on Baby, the name of the album, same numbers. So many examples. Again, if you got a question, if I covered that rapper's death, come to my blogs, search them both. At least 9 times out of 10, the death's covered. There's a lot of posts there. So Again, Freemasonry and the Jesuits. The Jesuits created modern Freemasonry. We call it the Jesuit Masonic Alliance. Remember, the Illuminati was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. Part of the plan was to infiltrate Freemasonry. So you're talking Illuminati, you're talking Jesuits and Masons. Secret societies, secret knowledge. And all right, I'm looking in to see again at the chat. I took my eyes off the chat. Did I miss anything, everybody? Is there something else I need to say about this death that I didn't already cover? Let me check in. Somebody says, "Well, who hires the hitman?" Well, again, I think one of the biggest clues is who did the song "Murder by Numbers." It's a lot like the Jackson 5 song. It's about how killing's as simple as ABC 1 2 3, but the band The Police did that song. So I think in a lot of cases, who's doing the killing are the people in positions of authority, the people who are essentially above the law, who make the law, who make the rules. The rules aren't really for them; they're for us. And again, so many unsolved mysteries when it comes to hip hop deaths. That's another possibility, that they're not really dying too. I mean, that's also entirely possible. They're not really dying. They're signing a contract. They're pumping out an album. They're trying to make $1 million quick, for their record label. But I mean, you start thinking about that. It seems like there'd be a lot of resources in making sure that nobody notices these people are alive. So yeah, it's a big question. If these people aren't dying and they're all going somewhere, how are they all going to some place and not really ever being discovered? Unless there's some large landmass out in the Pacific. Pacific's a huge ocean that there's not much flying over. I mean, that's a thought. There's not a lot of flying over the Pacific unless there's some big landmass in the Pacific they're not telling us about that all these people go to. I don't know. Dial J for Josh. I appreciate the super chat. Chipped in $10. Said, apologies, missed your birthday stream when it was live, so didn't get to send a gift donation. Happy belated birthday. I appreciate that, Dial J for Josh. No problem. You didn't have to do that for the record, but I do appreciate it. Thank you. So I wasn't looking at the chat. Let me make sure I didn't miss any people's super chats. There was another one. Elizabeth chipped in $2.79 Canadian. Thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate that. Sorry I didn't see it before. But all right. And yeah, Charmed One in the chat right now is linking my ebooks where you can download them for free if you would like to do that. So Letters and Numbers, the longer book. There's a long chapter on murder by numbers in that book. Number Games is the more recent book. There's a big chapter on Kobe Bryant's death. Big chapter on George Floyd. Big chapter on a lot of things in Number Games. So if you really want to learn Gematria, though, download Letters and Numbers, and in the time that you can, read the first 100 pages of Letters and Numbers. The book is 800 pages. You might not have time to read all 800 pages, but if you read the first 100 pages of Letters and Numbers, you will learn a lot about Gematria and make more sense of why they do this. So anyhow, we'll leave it there for now. And thanks for everyone who checked in. If you got here late, rewind the video, watch from the beginning, and make sure you're supporting the other people doing the good work in the community. Until next time.